We've all been there, right? On a long car trip, passing that familiar rest area sign, wondering if we could push another 20 minutes before needing to stop for a quick break. Sometimes, you get lucky and find one of those huge rest areas with food, bathrooms, and a bit of everything. But more often than not, it's the small ones, just a little building with restrooms and not much else. I was on one of those long trips, a 15-hour drive, most of which was overnight. I won't go into the specifics of where I was coming from or going to, but I'll say I was in some isolated area along the East Coast. It was late, and the road was nearly empty, no other cars in sight. At that point, I was getting antsy from hours in the seat, desperately needing to use the bathroom. I kept my eyes peeled for a rest area sign, and when I saw one, it felt like a lifeline. I turned off the highway a few miles later, into a small rest area. There was a restroom building, which was all I needed. No trucks were parked there, likely because it wasn't a truck stop. Still, there was another car in the lot. I figured the person might be asleep inside, but I didn't think much of it. I got out, stretched a little, and headed for the bathroom. As I walked, I glanced at the car with tinted windows. I couldn't see if anyone was inside, but that didn't concern me at the time. When I entered the bathroom, I was greeted by an unsettling sight. A man was standing in the corner with his back to me, his head lowered. At first, I thought he was using the urinal, but as I got closer, I realized he wasn't facing the urinal at all. He was simply standing there, facing the corner. It was odd, but I didn't know what to make of it. I almost asked if he was okay, but something about the scene felt off. I hesitated but needed to get to a stall, so I slowly walked past him, trying to act like everything was normal. I wasn't sure if I should speak to him or ignore him, but I just wanted to finish my business. Once I got into the stall, I realized I couldn't go to the bathroom with him standing there. The silence was overwhelming. I couldn't relax, so I just stood there for a moment, flushed the toilet, and exited the stall. To my surprise, the man had turned around. He was still standing in the same spot, but now he was facing me directly. I could see his face clearly, and I was instantly struck by how unsettling he looked. His expression was blank, but there was something about his eyes that made my skin crawl. I hadn't interacted with anyone in hours, and his presence caught me completely off guard. Without saying a word, I quickly left the bathroom and headed for my car. I was in a rush, starting the engine and backing up quickly. When I looked in the rearview mirror, I saw the man walking toward my car. My heart skipped a beat. I sped off as fast as I could, not looking back until I felt safe on the highway again. But relief didn't last long. I still had to use the bathroom. I told myself I could make it to the next rest area, just 20 minutes away, and I did. It wasn't long before I arrived at another rest stop, similar to the first, with no cars parked in the lot. I pulled into the spot right in front of the bathroom, eager to finally relieve myself. As I hurried toward the stall, I felt a sense of comfort, but that didn't last long. Just as I was finishing, I heard footsteps entering the bathroom. I thought they would stop at one of the urinals, but they didn't. The footsteps came straight toward my stall and stopped. I could see shoes through the crack at the bottom of the door. My stomach sank. My first thought was that it was the same man from the first bathroom. He had followed me. I panicked, unsure what to do. My social anxiety made it hard to speak up at first, but finally, I forced myself to say, "Someone's in here." There was no response. The man just stood there. I realized I was in serious trouble. The only thing I could think of was to dial 911, put the phone on speaker, and let the operator hear what was happening. As soon as the operator picked up, I clearly said, "I'm being followed by a dangerous man. I feel threatened." The operator asked for my location and details, and I answered as clearly and loudly as I could, hoping it would make the man realize I wasn't alone. Thankfully, it worked. The footsteps turned around, and the man walked out of the bathroom. I quickly told the operator I was staying in the stall until the police arrived. The officers soon knocked on the door, and I emerged to explain everything, both the encounter in the first bathroom and the second one. We checked my car to make sure it wasn't tampered with, then I left the rest area with the officer, who stayed with me until we reached a safer part of the highway. The rest of the trip was uneventful, but I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. I've never been followed before, and I know with near certainty that the man outside the stall was the same one I'd seen earlier. It's strange to think that something like this could happen to anyone, but it feels even stranger because I'm a man. You always hear about these kinds of things happening to women, but it can happen to anyone.
For more videos, please subscribe.